He lost everything. Then he became dangerous. There was a time when Rio had everything: a home, a family, a person who believed in him, and a future he thought was guaranteed. Then, in a single night, everything disappeared, and nobody knew that losing everything would become the greatest thing that ever happened to him. Rio wasn't always strong. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the smartest. And he definitely wasn't fearless. He was just a normal young man trying to build a normal life. Every morning, he woke up believing tomorrow would be better, until one night, the phone rang. One call, one sentence, and the world he knew collapsed. His family was gone. The house was gone. The person he loved walked away, and suddenly, there was nothing left. No money, no comfort, no one waiting for him. Rio stood alone, in an empty room, staring at the floor. For the first time in his life, he had nowhere to run. For weeks, Rio barely moved. He stopped answering messages, stopped chasing his dreams, stopped looking in the mirror. Because every time he looked at himself, he saw someone who had failed. He blamed the world. He blamed fate. He blamed everyone, except the person staring back at him, himself. One night, Rio punched the mirror. His hand started bleeding. He looked at his reflection and whispered, "I lost everything." Then he laughed, not because anything was funny, because he finally understood something. There was nothing left to lose, and that changed everything. The next morning, Rio woke before sunrise. He put on his old black jacket, walked outside, and started running. He ran until his lungs burned. Then he ran again. The next day, he trained. The day after that, he trained again. Nobody applauded. Nobody noticed. Nobody cared. And that was exactly what he needed. Because for the first time, he wasn't working for approval. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He wasn't trying to prove the world wrong. He was trying to prove something to himself, that the man who lost everything didn't have to remain broken. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. The weak body became stronger. The tired eyes became sharper. The trembling hands became steady. But the biggest transformation wasn't happening to his body. It was happening inside his mind. Rio stopped asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and started asking, "What am I going to do about it?" He stopped waiting for motivation. He built discipline. He stopped begging people to stay. He learned to stand alone. He stopped fearing failure, because failure had already taken everything from him, and somehow he was still standing. That's when Rio became dangerous. Not because he became violent, not because he wanted revenge, not because he stopped caring. He became dangerous because he no longer needed anyone's permission to become great. Rejection couldn't stop him. Loneliness couldn't stop him. Failure couldn't stop him. Pain couldn't stop him. Because pain had already introduced him to the strongest version of himself. The world thought Rio had lost everything. But Rio realized something they couldn't see. He hadn't lost everything. He had lost everything that made him comfortable. And that gave him the freedom to build something new. Maybe you're standing where Rio once stood. Maybe you've lost someone. Maybe you've lost money. Maybe you've lost an opportunity. Maybe you've lost your confidence. Maybe you're looking at your life wondering, how am I supposed to start again? Listen carefully. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You don't even need to feel ready. You just need to take the next step, then another, then another. Because sometimes losing everything isn't the end of your story. Sometimes it's the moment your real story begins. So if life has stripped everything away from you, Stand up, build again, become stronger. And one day, the person who broke you will look at you and wonder where you came from. You didn't become dangerous because you stopped feeling pain. You became dangerous because pain couldn't stop you anymore. This is Risen Fuel. Awaken the monster within.